welcome to another Tonic Craft Kit unboxing video. Today's one is for Tonic Craft Kit number 48, and it is the Harvest Moon Affections kit. And you might recognise the name Harvest Moon because it is the next and final colour trend from Tonic Craft Perfect and Nuvo for 2021. I don't think it'll be that long before the full trend actually launches as well. So you're getting an exclusive look at some of the products that are in the trend, and there's also an exclusive colour in here that won't come out in the trend, but you're going to get it in this kit as well, which is really lovely. I love it when they do that. So let's get on to looking at what is inside this month's kit. So the first thing that you can see is we are getting another binder. So the previous binder you should now have, if you're collecting all of them, you should now have 3 kits in that binder, and now we've got a new binder, so we can now put 3 kits in this binder. 4 kits do fit in a binder, but it's quite nice that you get one, every 4th kit, so that 3 kits fit in the previous binder, because it means they've got more space in there, and nothing's going to get squashed inside there. Everything is going to have enough space, and no stamp sets are going to get squashed against die sets over time or anything. So just keeping 3 in the folder is quite nice. And it's got the same design that's on the inside of the box of the craft kit on the inside of the folder. They are like a basic A5 ring binder with the standard 2 holes in there. So when you get a standard hole punch, they're always the same distance apart, these kind of rings, and so they will work perfectly with the folders from the kits, but also the plastic storage folders that come with stamp clubs, designer's choice. Sometimes showcases are in an A5 format as well, or you can also buy the A5 die storage refills from Tonic as well, and those would fit in this too. So depending like how you work and stuff, you might want to store other bits and pieces in with your kit. And maybe if you don't get all of the kits, you might just have been lucky enough to get one of the kits that has one of the binders in it. You can store other bits and pieces in there too, which is always great. So that is the binder. Then next is my favourite, all of the Nuvo stuff. So I'll tip all this out. I'll keep that bag again just in case I want to use it on another art journal page. And these are all of the Nuvo goodies that we're getting in this month's kit. So let's have a look first at the ink pad. So we're getting the little Nuvo hybrid ink pad. The hybrid ink pads are fantastic because they work with anything that's water-based or alcohol-based. So if you're creating a background and you're just having an experiment and you're not sure whether you're going to want to spray something over the top or add some watercolour or something, it's really nice to be able to know that anything that you've previously stamped on there isn't going to sort of get obliterated when you add water to it. So that's why I love the Nuvo hybrid ink pads, and they're also great for stamping and then colouring with your alcohol pens. And sometimes you don't actually want that harsh black line, depending on what the image is. So having colours that work perfectly for your alcohol pen colouring as well is always great to have. So in this month's kit we're getting the Rumba Red, which is one of the 3 colours that are coming out in the colour trend. There'll be another set of 3 that's called the Harvest Moon ink pads, and this is one of the colours. It's not a random selection, I don't think. I think everybody is getting the Rumba Red in their kit this month. So that is the little mini hybrid ink pad. They are an inch square, so they do fit absolutely perfectly in your Tim Holtz ink pad storage tins. If you have any of these, they fit absolutely perfectly in there. The bottom of them isn't quite as recessed as a mini distress ink pad, so you can't quite like firmly store one of the foams underneath, but I tend to just place them in the plastic tray that's inside the tin and then just place the ink pad over the top, and that works quite nicely. But if you're into using your blending brushes and stuff, it doesn't really matter about storing a foam underneath them. So that is the gorgeous colour, and I did do a little swatch onto a scrap of cardstock so you can see the beautiful colour that it comes out. It's very dark on the label, but you can get lighter tones with it if you just use sort of one layer of stamping, or you can build up the tone. If you stamp a few times over the top of each other, it will deepen that beautiful maroony kind of red, almost like a purpley red, slightly on the purpler side, but really, really pretty colour. So that is the ink pad. Then we're also getting a full-size Nuvo crystal drop. This is a really lovely colour. It's a really pale tone, but I think it's a different, sorry if my voice sounds funny, I'm looking off to the side at my Nuvo drops, but it's a different brown to any of the other kind of neutrally browny creamy kind of colours we've had in the past. And again, all of the Nuvo products are from the new colour trend except for the exclusive colour, but this is called Malted Milk, this one, but really lovely neutral colour that is just perfect for adding subtle embellishments onto your card. You'll see how I've used it on my cards. It's very blends into the background nicely, and but it's just an off-white kind of a colour, so really lovely to add to your project. So this is the Malted Milk Nuvo Crystal Drop, and you're getting the full-sized bottle as well in your kit. Then we're also getting a Nuvo glitter marker, and this again is the brand new colour called Golden Honey. Really gorgeous tone again. I didn't actually use this to colour, I was using this to splatter on one of my cards, but really gorgeous warm yellowy honey kind of coloured glitter marker. And I've mentioned this loads of times in unboxing videos and stuff for kits, that there are so many different ways of using your glitter markers, whether it is colouring straight onto something, whether you are watering it down and splatting with it, using that watered down ink to watercolour with, or using it to edge your card as well. Like if you want to do a faux matte layer, I would do this against the table, not in midair, but you can actually edge the side of your card as well and give it like a tiny little sparkly edge too. There's loads of different ways of using your Nuvo glitter markers. You can even stamp with them as well. So I think these are a very underestimated product that Nuvo do, but a really fun and great for experimenting with if you just want to have a play with stuff. I really love their Nuvo glitter markers. So we also have that one in the kit. Then we've also got a mini embossing powder, and this is the colour Medici Crimson, I think that's how you say it. But it's a really beautiful red, this one. A lovely deep red, very similar to the colour of the Rumba Red ink pad, but it has a slight metallic kind of finish to it, so I'll show you that on one of my finished projects as well. But we've just got a lovely little sample pot, and again this one will be coming out in a full size in the colour trend, so if you do really like this colour you will be able to get a full size pot of it as well. Then we're also getting a little sampler of ribbon. So this is their, you might have seen a couple of weeks ago, they brought out an entire range of the double-edged satin ribbon, and it's also double-sided as well, in 10 different colours, 2 different widths, so there are 20 different rolls that you could get of them. But you might remember me saying in my previous colour trend video, the Santa's Workshop one, that they had 2 ribbons to come out with that colour trend. One was the spotty grosgrain, and the other one was this deep forest green organza ribbon. So I'm presuming when this colour trend comes out that you would be able to buy this colour in a roll like this. So this is the forest green, and you got 5 meters of that, so we get 2 meters as a little sampler in the kit, but I'm presuming that when the trend comes out you'll be able to buy it in a 5 meter roll. And this is a beautiful colour. I don't know if it says the colour on here actually. I'm not 100% sure. Do I have it on the list? Maroon red organza ribbon. So really gorgeous colour that is going to go absolutely perfectly with the ink pad there. Perfect match for the ink pad, and it also goes perfectly with that Medici Crimson embossing powder as well. Really perfect match for that. So we've got that gorgeous ribbon, and it is 16 millimeters wide, and the reason why I mentioned the other ribbons is because they are narrower. One of them is I've got 2 reels here actually. One of the widths of the other ribbon that you can buy is 3 millimeter, and the other one is 9 millimeter. So this is a wider ribbon than any of the other ribbons that are out on the market from Tonic. So yeah, really gorgeous. I love the organza stuff actually, because it adds a really light element to whatever you're adding it to. It just kind of colour tints over the top, and it ties a really nice bow as well. It's not that kind of organza that when you tie it, it starts to untie. It stays where you put it, which is really nice as well. So that is the little sampler of ribbon. We get 2 meters on that. Then the next thing is, as with all the colour trends, they come out with a 4-pack of like sequins, confettis and glitters, and this colour trend is no exception. There is a 4-pack for Harvest Moon. I don't have the other 2 to show you, but it will be a random selection of 2 of the sequins, confetti or glitter from that pack. I think as with the other trends we've seen, there was 2 glitters. I think the other glitter is orange, and then I think there is a gold kind of confetti in there as well. But I got the Midsummer Gold glitter, which is really, really lovely. I used this through die cut apertures with double-sided tape on the back of it. Really, really lovely. And then I also got the Autumn Blaze sequins. I think I said this in one of my Rustic Rose videos, or it could have been the Rustic Rose craft kit. The size of these, they're 3 different sizes, but there's a really teeny tiny ones in here as well, which is really nice actually. I do tend to go for maybe the largest one in here is usually one of the smallest sizes that I use of a sequin, but it is quite nice to have a mixture of the different sizes actually, and going down to the little tiny ones means you could use them in different ways that you might not have thought to use your sequins before, because they've usually been too big. But let me just try and get the middle-sized one off here as well. I have used them on a project too, so you will be able to see the different sizes on there as well. And now I'm making a mess and dropping them everywhere. But those are the 3 different sizes that are in there. So I think that is maybe 6mm, 4mm and 3mm. I can actually measure them, I think, if I put them on here. I think, yeah, I'd say 6mm, yeah, 4mm and 3mm, yeah. So nice dainty little tiny sequins, but they're really lovely as little accents, especially on like the centres of flowers and stuff. And being in an orange colour, you can get away with putting them in the centre of a flower, and you could even do like a yellow Nuvo drop in the centre or a gold Nuvo drop to lighten it up a little bit as well. And I think they'd be really lovely for that kind of application. So those are, well, that is the random selection of 2 that you could be getting. So I got these 2, but there's also another glitter and a confetti that you might have got as well. And then the final Nuvo product is this one, which is the exclusive to the kit, and this is a full-size glacier paste, and this is in the colour Frosted Birch, but this one is actually exclusive to the kit, so the only place you're going to be able to get this is in this Tonic Craft Kit. But it's, again, it's a lovely neutral kind of tone, very sort of taupey kind of coloured, very similar to the Malted Milk Nuvo drop. I really like neutral kind of tones. You often skip over them because you're drawn towards like the bright colours for your cards, but I do really like these neutral tones because they can just add something extra to the background, like a splattering of glacier paste with a random addition of little Nuvo drops as well. Can really fill out a card and fill up some of that white space that you kind of want to leave for the part of the design, but it looks too empty. But things like this are really great for filling up that kind of detail. So this is the exclusive colour to this kit, and this is the Frosted Birch Glacier Paste. I have opened it because I've used it, so let me get my palette knife and you can see the colour. So it's a really gorgeous colour, and I've given you before lots of ideas of how to use glacier paste. One of my favourite ways is to water it down and splatter with it, but I did also use it through like a homemade kind of stencil using one of the dies from the kit as well. I say this a lot, I sound like a broken record, but I do recommend using it thinly rather than thickly because it doesn't have the capacity to dry in a very dimensional state, so you're kind of wasting it a little bit if you use it thickly, because you get a similar result if you use it thinly because it wants to dry flat. But yeah, really gorgeous product. I love glacier paste, so I'm glad we've got a cool exclusive colour of that to try in the kit, which is always nice having the exclusives. Then we also have, let me take all of this out of here now so we're not casting too much of a shadow with the lid of the box. So we also have the Harvest Moon 6x6 paper pad. So this is their, typically with all of their colour trends now, they come out with a 6x6 paper pad that goes perfectly with the colour scheme and just gives you that option of being able to do quick and simple cards, or maybe if you have some lovely character stamps, you could stamp their clothing onto here and trim them out and add it to a character. You can do the traditional kind of paper piecing with die cutting and adding the elements, cut from patterned paper back into the detailed portions of your die cuts as well. So it works really great for that kind of thing. So we have 24 sheets, there's 8 different designs and you get 6 of each, and it is double-sided and 160 GSM, so a pretty decent weight for paper as well. I love this design. It's kind of got like droplets, it looks like to me, and this way up it looks more like a little splash. Obviously it's in like red tones rather than blues, but it kind of gives me that sort of feeling. There's also tiny little dots in the background as well, and the pattern is in like different maroon kind of shades with an off-white neutral sort of a background. Then on the back of this piece we have a gorgeous, again, lovely deep maroony reddy kind of colour. Just a solid sort of base with diagonal stripes that are actually made up of tiny little dots. So they're that beautiful neutral kind of taupey colour, I think, tiny little dots going all the way across the background, which is also really beautiful, subtle kind of design. Then we have this gorgeous mustard colour, which is like interlocking circles, and then in that diamond shape that it creates there's a tiny little solid diamond as well in the sort of darker mustard tone onto the lighter background. Then on the back of that sheet, we've got this one, which is very, it makes me think of sort of like retro patterns, but it also kind of reminds me of peacocks. I know it's the wrong colours for peacocks, but that pattern kind of looks like the eye on the feather, but really, really unusual kind of design really, with that light yellow mustard background with the darker ovals, and then almost like the neutral colour, sort of almost a circle on top of them as well. So really interesting, that one. Almost makes your eyes go funny looking at it. And then we've got beautiful, again, neutral, slightly off-white, very, very slightly off-white, and lighter than the Nuvo drop colour. And then you've got 3 different shades of brown in tiny little dots, making sort of wavy lines across the paper as well. So another sort of subtle one that's not too busy. It's quite a nice base for like doing a bit of stamping on top of, or if you watched my Santa's Workshop colour trend video, I showed you multiple different ways of using different Nuvo products to spruce up your patterned papers, like adding actual Nuvo drops onto them, doing glacier paste, a bit of stamping, stenciling, double-sided tape and your glitters, all sorts of different things to spice up your patterned papers as well. So if you're interested in those kind of techniques, go back and watch that video. Then on the back of that page we've got again a light neutrally taupey colour background, and then it almost looks like a diamond lattice design, but those diamonds, they're kind of puffy crosses really. They're like almost got the little 4 puffs of a cross that's, you know, really blobby, but really nice design. It's different, not having like a proper linear lattice design. It's just like a little bit different, gives it a softer kind of feel. Then the next page, I love this one, is covered in gorgeous tiny little leaves. So really, really pretty. If you look from far away, it just looks like random shapes on there, but up close they're tiny little leaves in all of the beautiful colours from this colour trend. So you've got the taupe, the mustard, the orange, the red, pinky tones, maroony colours, really pretty autumn kind of tones. And then on the back of that one we've got a lovely solid orange with sort of red large and small dots in a regimented kind of pattern across the background. So even though this one has got like a noticeable pattern, it's quite subtle with the colour difference between the pattern and the background. So again, perfect for those kind of paper piecing kind of designs, because you're not losing the detail. If you piece this into like a delicate detailed die cut, you're not going to get too distracted by the pattern because it's very tone on tone. So really gorgeous patterned papers, and all of the colours of these papers and the ones I'll show you in a second are really perfect for bringing us into September and October with those beautiful autumnal kind of colours. So perfect for all those sort of projects that you might be wanting to do, or even like home decor as well, like making bunting or something for autumn and the harvest time. Really, really lovely. So we've also got 8 sheets of cardstock. I'll run through all of them first, and then I will point out which are the 5 new ones that come in the colour trend. But obviously once the colour trend has launched, you would be able to buy a full pack of any of these, but I will point out to you which ones are the new colour trend ones. So we have 2 different classic cardstocks. We have Ginger Pie, and the classic cardstock has this beautiful weave on one side, and then it is actually smooth on the other side. So we have, in the classic style, we have the Ginger Pie, and then we also have the Candy Red as well. And again, it's got that beautiful weave design. So 2 beautiful solid colours to work with. Then we've got 2 of their satin mirror cards. So we've got this one, which is called Baroque Rose, which is a beautiful rose colour, different to the, I think it's called Burnished Rose. That's more of a coppery kind of rose maybe, but this one is definitely more on the pink side, so it's definitely more of a rosy kind of colour. Then we also have one of my old favourites, which is the Copper Mine satin mirror card. Really pretty colour. I love this one. I use this one quite a lot. This one originally came out in the Arabian Nights colour trend all those years ago now, but I really do love this colour. Then we have one of their double-sided specialty papers. This is their pearlescent. So we have that gorgeous pearlescence on both sides of the cardstock, and this is in the colour Coffee Cream. Then we have a beautiful handmade cotton paper, which is called Royal Garnet, and this one actually tears really nicely just by itself. I don't often try to tear the cotton papers because they usually have a pearlescent finish, or some of them now have more of like a metallic finish on top of them, but this is almost a matte kind of one, and it does tear really nicely, and it gives a lovely fluffy edge as well, which I'll show you on some of my samples. So really gorgeous, this one. Then we also have, this is another one of their specialty embossed cardstocks, and this one is called Sienna Treasure. You might recognise this kind of design. There's also a silver and a gold and a cinnamon coloured one as well, but this sort of completes the metallic kind of range. This is more of like a coppery tone, so really, really pretty. I love this kind of pattern on their luxury cardstock. And then the final sheet is gorgeous glitter card. Again, their glitter card like sheds like 1 or 2 flecks, if that, so really, really good, and it die cuts really nicely as well, especially, well, even with intricate dies, it still die cuts nicely. And this is their Welsh gold cardstock. I love the glitter card. Tiny little bits you can use of this, but it just really spruces up your card. So even though you only get 1 sheet in the craft kit, this will really go a long way, especially the glitter card, because you only need tiny little pieces. Or even some of the dies in this month's kit have got like little hearts in them, and like having the little hearts cut from gold glitter card and like adding them to projects really adds something extra as well. So those are all of the sheets of card, and then the ones that are from the new Harvest Moon colour trend are the Ginger Pie normal textured cardstock, the Baroque Rose satin mirror card, the Coffee Cream pearlescent card, which is double-sided, the handmade cotton paper in the Royal Garnet colour, and then also that gorgeous specialty luxury cardstock in the Sienna Treasure. Those 5 are the ones that are brand new to this colour trend. And then, because we always get 8 sheets in a kit, well, sometimes 8 to 10 sheets, they've just added on 3 of their original kind of colours that work really nicely with all of these colours from this colour trend. So they've given you a nice selection of cardstock. And again, with this new packaging, you also have it in a lovely little sleeve as well. So you can even print out a label or just stick a label on and write what colours are in here too, to give you an idea for a colour scheme later down the line if you want some help. But I mean, because this is a colour trend, you probably have that elsewhere. But yeah, I really like having these little folders. They're nice to keep everything together. Then probably the thing you've all been waiting for is the, I think it's called Framed Affection die set, the stamp set, and also the sticker as well. So this is the beautiful Harvest Moon Affection sticker, which you can stick on the front of your folder so that you know at a glance what kit it was. And then these are the gorgeous stamps and dies. I have put my dies on a magnetic sheet, and this month I decided to use one of the real ones that Tonic sells rather than a cheap one, because there are so many small dies on this month's set. I didn't want them to fall off, and the Tonic ones hold dies so brilliantly that there's no worry of them falling off. Even if I shake it or, you know, bend it a little bit, they stay on a lot better than a cheaper magnetic sheet. So that's why I've used a proper one this month. You can tell it's a proper one because it's got the rounded corners on it. So let's have a look at the stamp set first. So this is a really great stamp set. I mean, you can see the main die has got all these little frames in it, and a lot of these sentiments will fit inside those frames. Some of them you might be thinking, how would I use that on a card? But I think the idea behind this die set is that you can use it in your memory books, maybe even put it inside a photo frame as well, and then you could use some of these words with maybe tiny little photos or other bits of ephemera and stuff. So I think that's why they've gone with all these sort of sentiments, but some of them are perfect for cards as well. So we've got For Someone Special, Hello My Friend, Sweet Little Moments, You Make Me Smile, A Gift, Lots of Love, Hugs and Kisses, you've got a giant ampersand, Time to Celebrate, You and Me, and then to go with that giant ampersand you've got Friends, Family, so you can do friends and family, family and friends. You've got Love, Making Memories, Good Times, Smile, Always, You and Me. So you can use lots of these words in conjunction with that large ampersand as well. You've got a lovely little cluster of hearts. You can see I was using it with the ink pad that we got in the kit because it's stained a little bit red. You've got a few different solid hearts and then also open hearts as well. So it's nice to have a mixture all in one stamp because it means you don't have to sort of think about placement, which is lovely. And then down the side here we've got a little row of 6 solid hearts, and then also XOXOXO for Hugs and Kisses as well. And then, is that all of them? Yeah, that's all of them. So it's mostly just sentiments on this stamp set, and it is an A6 stamp set as well. But I really like this font of these ones actually, and I'm sure you can mix and match these with some of your dies that you have as well if you really want to even more mix up like the font styles and stuff, and use the ampersand with other words as well. And you can also snip into these, so I actually snipped off the word Hugs and Kisses, took that and out, and then used the die cut ampersand from the die set actually. So you can really mix and match, which is always a great idea. And then coordination wise, the only one that's kind of got an actual outline around it is this one, which will go with that die there. So that will actually go around that perfectly, and I'm pretty certain all of the others are either designed to be sort of like one word in one of these long ones, or they're in a sort of configuration where you can fit them inside these depending on which way round you have your die set. So for example, this one, you kind of want the die cut frame to be portrait to fit inside this one, but if you had it landscape, then you could then use For Someone Special in there, or Hello My Friend. You might even just be able to fit Sweet Little Moments as well, and You Make Me Smile might just fit in there too. So yeah, lots of different mixing and matching kind of options with that. So let's have a look at the actual die set. So the main portion of this is the like frame part. So you have this piece, if I can get it off the really good magnetic sheet, this piece is like the main portion of the die set, and at first I was kind of like, how am I going to use that on a card? But I actually really enjoyed this. I really liked using this on my cards, like snipping portions of it out and layering them up on top of each other, replacing the innards of these as well with different pattern papers or the different cardstock that's in the kit. You can also stamp in the interiors. You can use the interior shape and these pieces, the outside dies that go with it, to cut little skinny frames to then fit inside here as well. There really are loads of different ways of using it. I have mostly just used it for cards, and I made a couple of gift tags as well, isolating this shape and also this oval as well to create some gift tags. But I also think it would work really nicely if this is an A5 sheet. You can see how a 5x7 sort of size works perfectly. So it'll work really nicely on a 5x7 card, but I also think it would work nicely inside a 5x7 photo frame, and especially if you have like lots of grandchildren or something, you can do their little photographs in some of these slightly larger openings, and then you could die cut some of these extra pieces to put in there, or stamp out some of the words to create some sort of design. You could use any of your alphabets that you already have to personalise it with names and stuff, and then you could mount this inside a 5x7 photo frame as something different. Or if you had the actual frame die sets that Tonic have done, they've done two now. There was the most recent one was the beveled frames, and then you had just like the plain boxy frames before that as well. You could definitely make a frame that would perfectly fit this in as well, for another idea. You could also turn this into a shaker. I don't think I did any shakers with these, but stacking this up multiple times, probably just out of cardstock, and doing like 3 or 4 stacked on top of each other, would be enough to create like little shaker wells in there. You could have little sequins and confetti shaking behind them. I think there are a lot of different ways of using this. Maybe die cut it out and try it with some bits and pieces that you have in your stash. Maybe combine it with other die sets that you've got as well. Little stamped critters, actually, stamped little characters poking their heads out of these would look really sweet as well. Also, if you know anybody who loves Harry Potter, I suppose it could kind of look like all of the portraits and stuff on the walls in the staircase scenes and that. So you could even print out pictures off of the internet from like Harry Potter and stuff, or old little portraits and that, and put them inside as well. So there really are loads of different styles that you could use this for as well. You could go more traditional and have it like gold gilded looking frames. You could make it white on white, so it's just kind of some extra shape pattern in the background. You can stack them up to make it really evident. You can snip into it. I actually did one of my cards, used it as a whole thing, but because the size of card I like to make is shorter than this and a tiny bit narrower, I just cut the edge parts off, and it still looks really lovely like that, not even used as a whole. On one of the cards I even just used these 3 frames together, and I think that's a lovely idea too. Also, some of these frames look a little bit like road sign shapes, so you could also use your scissors to snip out the different shapes within here as well to create road signs for a different kind of card too. Maybe even this one you could turn into a traffic light and put 3 circles in there with the different colours. So I think there are loads of different ways that you could use this. I've only shown you a few because obviously I don't have hours and hours and hours to spend trying out all of the different ideas, but I have really enjoyed working with this, and even just picking out some of the little dies that are in here as well and using them. So that is the main die. This frame one is the main die, but then you also get the bubble. So, again, depending on how you wanted to use this, you could make a shaped card for it to then fit on top of. You could make this an entire shaker aperture on a larger card, and then recess this back over the top. You could use this to again make your card blank, but you could fold it in half so it's a non-symmetrical card, and you could have just half of the frames coming over the front of the card as well. So having this extra outside shape just gives you a few more options. If you wanted to piece the central portions back in, again, having this piece to stick behind it is quite nice, because you can then stick straight onto this rather than having to have already decided what project you want to put this on and stick it on straight away. So it gives you a nice lot of options. And then you can see how I've removed that from there. You can see all of the different shapes that you get that go inside there, and for all of them you get a straight edged outside shape that fits nicely inside here but gives a little bit of space. So if you did actually cut them together, you also get a little skinny frame that you could then recess back in here as well, and I will show you that on one of my projects. But so you get this rectangular one with the cut inwards corners, you get this funny blobby shaped diamond sort of one, you get this sort of almost gem shaped one, you get this kind of, I thought this looked like a cog, this kind of a shape that goes inside the scalloped circle. You've got more of like a wiggly kind of diamondy sort of shape. You've got this one that reminds me of like a road sign. or a you know, like a little plaque that you would have on the front of a little set of drawers with like what's inside there. You've got a circle as well, you've got a lovely oval shape, you've got a rounded rectangle, and then you've also got another sort of, I'm really sorry if you can hear that. I think my neighbour is washing their car, but I'm sorry if you can hear that, it's kind of distracting me. Anyway, this is, yeah, lovely sort of blobby kind of shape that will fit perfectly inside there as well. And then you also get multiple different pieces that could go inside all of these. So this one here has actually got XOXOXO inside that one, but you can also fit this little piece here, which cuts diagonal little stripes, that would also fit perfectly inside that one. But then you also have words as well, which I think are sized to fit in the other rectangle, but that word party, obviously you'd have to cut them separately, but I do think that word party, sorry you can't even see that, would fit inside there as well. So you've got 3 options for that one little shape. Then for this shape here, you've got this lattice design that's in there, but you also have this design that has got hearts in there, so you can actually cut this little heart design out as well. The next one is this kind of little cog shape. I've got the heart design in there, but you also have a little stripy design as well. So if you wanted it to be less romantic kind of themed and more just like geometric sort of patterns, more masculine maybe, you could even put all of these kind of patterns inside and take all of the heart sort of ones out. Then this one says family inside there, but you also have the option of love as well, or you could leave it blank if you wanted to too. So you've got that. Then this wiggly shape here, you have got that stripy design that's already sitting in there. You've got this one with tiny little hearts and it says you and me. So that little design there says you and me, that fits perfectly in there. And this one you also get a third option, which has a lovely starburst effect with a heart in the middle, and that heart is really lovely for accenting your project as well. So there's 3 options for that one. Inside this one we saw we had a stamp option for it. You get a diagonal stripe. You also get this one, which is covered in hearts. Again, these hearts are really nice for accenting your project because they fall away from there. And that big heart there actually layers up perfectly onto this little heart cluster here. On this large one, it layers up really nicely, having that heart stuck on top of there. Then, for a third option on this one, we also have the Just For You that can go in there as well, and it's got 2 little emboss sort of hearts that will feature in that design as well. And all of these ones that have the words, you can actually use the letters that fall away. Some of them, because it's more like a stencil sort of font, some of them are in 2 pieces, but a lot of them are actually singular piece letters that you can then use to spell out a word as well. Then the circular design, you have this lovely ampersand. I really like that one. I don't know why I love ampersands, but they're just always a lovely little accent to add, whether it is combining 2 words to make a sentiment or just as an accent. I really like them. So that is a gorgeous one that you can cut into the circle, or it just cuts an ampersand out as well. And then you have this lovely little design as well, which has got a heart in the centre with some little dot detail and then loads of little hearts around the perimeter of the circle as well. So you can use that in conjunction. This little oval has a row of 6 hearts. Mine's actually still got cardstock in. I use this die loads to cut the little hearts out to use as accents on my cards. Then, also to fit perfectly inside of there, you also have the word let's. So there are other words that coordinate, like party and celebrate. But you have let's that fits perfectly inside there. But this is one of the perfect words that are all solid. So you can actually just use those letters and stick them onto your project, which I've done on one of mine as well. Then this wiggly shape here has forever and ever as one of the sentiments inside there, and there's little hearts within this design too. There's 2 hearts here, a larger one and then a little tiny one either side, and then it says forever and then and ever. And then on this one is the other option to go in there, says friends. So you can actually have friends in there too. There's stripy design and there's a heart here. Oh, there's 2 hearts there, and then there's 2 hearts down here as well. But any of the ones that don't go with your design, you can leave blank, use a patterned paper in them, use one of the specialty papers in there as well. And then finally, this rectangle here, has the word love you in it, but you've also got celebrate as an option. You could even put let's inside there as well. Even though let's is a smaller word, it would still go inside that rectangle. You can also use the word party in there, or you can actually use the XOXO or the stripy one out of that shape as well. You could even put them in there too. So there's loads of great options for mixing and matching whatever you put in all of these apertures. And then depending on what size photograph you might want to put inside these, if you were going to use it in that way, you could either line this die up over the top of your photograph and you'd get a larger shape that would then recess perfectly into here, or if you had a much smaller photograph, you could actually use the interior shapes as well, and then you could stick the photograph on there and there would be a border of whatever colour you've left behind it as well. So you've got the sort of layering options, and you could raise the frame up, recess the photos behind. You can have the frame flat and raise the photos up, or a mixture of each of them. So yeah, there's loads and loads of different ways that you could use this, and hopefully I've gone through all of those dies in enough detail for you. This is one of my favourites, this cluster of hearts. I cut that out so many times, and the great thing about the craft kit, or because this one is based on a trend as well, any of the trends are great for this too. If you have all of these little dies like this and you're not quite sure what you want to do, just pick out some colours of the cardstock, if not all of the ones that you get in this kit, and just cut loads of them, and then you know that all of them are going to coordinate with each other because they're all from a colour trend or collection of colours that you know are going to go nicely together. And then you've just got loads of little elements that you can build up cards that you might not have thought of making. I actually have one of those cards to show you as well that was made up with excess pieces that I had cut loads of to make a specific card, and then I decided that, oh, I love all of these little pieces that are left over, and even like the apertures of cutting out some of them, so then I use them to make another card as well. So it's definitely worth just cutting a load of these pieces and having all the different elements that you can mix and match together. You might find you need to cut a few more to finish off a design you had in your mind, but yeah, really nice just to have a load of them cut out. So I'll put all of these away before I lose any of them, and I'll come back in 1 second to show you all the samples that I've done as well, and hopefully my neighbour won't be as noisy. I'm hoping you can't hear that. Okay, so I've got a little pile of samples to share with you. The first 3 of them are my sped up video. So I kind of wanted to show maybe some ways of using the dies that aren't like the typical kind of way that you might think to use them straight away. For example, this one is using the main frame all over, but instead of cutting out the solid shapes and the detail and raising them up on the card, I actually placed the frame die onto the card first, chose all of my intricate pieces, taped them to another piece of card below the actual frame die, and then cut them out. So I had a piece of white card that was my favourite size, that had all of the intricate pieces cut into it, where the actual frame piece would then sit over the top. So instead of building upwards, I've kind of gone backwards so that I could put double-sided adhesive behind the main piece of card and then use the gorgeous glitter from the kit to fill in some of the aperture areas, which I thought would be a nice way of using it. I also fiddled around with where the interior patterns were, so I moved the hearts down a little bit further so they were more towards the bottom of the oval. I moved this sort of diagonal stripe one up further because I knew I was going to cut part of this off, and bits and pieces like that, so it kind of gives a little bit of a slightly different look as well. Then what I was saying earlier about if you cut this outside frame from a colour of cardstock and you have all of the interior pieces, for example this piece here, so this one actually fell out of there, but you could also then use the interior die to then cut this into a little frame out of another colour and place it back in to give this kind of a look as well. So you've actually got the options to do that in any places you want to as well, or if you're working the opposite way and building upwards, you can you know, cut the frame from a different colour to get the other colour solids like this, place them on with 3D foam, and then place the other one on top with 3D foam as well to give a different look. So I thought I would show you cutting into like the base card and doing it that way, and backing some of the apertures with cardstock and papers or glitter to show you that kind of a way. And then I added the main frame piece back over the top with 3D foam, and then I also trimmed off any of the extra pieces that were sticking off the main size panel, which is my favourite size of card to make. So I wanted to show as well, you don't have to use it as a whole thing. You can use like the whole design, but if it hangs off your card, it's alright to like cut parts of it off and it still looks really nice with that gorgeous sort of frame design all over. And then I just used one of the sentiment stamps and layered it up with the card, and that is the gorgeous cotton handmade paper, and that is just tearing it with my hands, not having to add any water at all. If you wanted to be really precise, you can use like your water brush and draw lines of where you want to tear it to sort of loosen the fibres, and then you can pull it apart as well, and that might give an even fluffier edge to it too. But because it doesn't have that kind of pearlescent or metallic coating on the top of this one, it's really easy to tear, so you can do that kind of mulberry paper sort of look to it. So that's the first one. Then again, I wanted to use the sort of main frame piece, but in a kind of different way. And for some of the pieces on this card, I actually cut the partial portions of the frame and then used some of the interior pieces to finish off that card. And so I was left with these extra pieces, and I thought, well, why not use those on another card? So I've got like that gorgeous sienna cardstock and the copper mine as well as my main outlines, and then I've used patterned papers and some of the other beautiful cardstocks from the kit to fill in any of the extra areas. And instead of using the entire thing like this, I focused more on this top half portion and using that, because when I had cut some of the pieces to get the extra frames for these, I was focusing on the top part of the die, so I hadn't cut the whole thing from cardstock, I just cut the top part, so then that's why I had these top portions left. And so then I just arranged them one up this way, one up the other way, which then makes it look like a completely different kind of shape really. And then I also had some extra half circles left on some of them, so I've added those to the sides, and then I've just cut the die again out of other cardstocks and filled in the different ones with the different patterns. So some of them have got the pattern paper in, some of them got the specialty, the glitter card, and then I also just stamped inside one of them with the hugs and kisses as well. Those are those beautiful sequins in use, so they're really beautiful, bold, bright orange colour. I think these would be perfect to accent that orange pattern paper with the red spots on. They would look really great just placed on top of the spots on those papers as well to like jazz up the papers. And I've got a random ampersand on there because I just really love that ampersand. That little cluster of hearts, that's using, that's actually the heart from the centre of one of the intricate detail dies. Is actually the one that's underneath there that has the starburst and the heart in the centre. That is the heart from there, but also some of the skinnier hearts do also work on top of here. I think I've done that on one of the other projects that I'll show you as well. So that's kind of like another way of using it and bringing in the same portions of the frame but from different places. And then this semicircle is cut from here on the other spare frames that I had. And then to fill in any extra areas, I've also used that gorgeous malted milk Nuvo drop as well to add in little subtle accents that just sort of finish it off and fill in a bit of the white space. Then this third card is using lots of the Nuvo, and I thought this design, which is actually the piece that is supposed to fit on top of or inside of this shape, is kind of an inverted scallop, but to me that looks like a cog, so I wanted to use the interior pieces that go inside of them and try and turn it into a slightly more masculine, but just more going along with that Cogstein kind of feel, rather than it being scallop circles and being all like you know, puffy and cute. That's more like spiky with using the interior shape, and it's kind of gives that sort of cog feel. I cut these ones with the straight stripes from the orange textured cardstock, and then I added on the glacier paste and sprinkled on some of the yellowy coloured glitter as well while the glacier paste was wet. Then for the heart ones, I embossed them with that, what's it called, Medici Crimson embossing powder, and you can see that beautiful metallic finish, and it's really lovely deep maroon kind of a colour, which is perfect to go with the ink pad. So then you've got the ink pad in the background. These little hearts here are from using that little heart die that's supposed to go in the oval here, and I've used it with the glacier paste as like a little stencil to add some glacier paste hearts on there. I took the Nuvo glitter marker and pressed some onto my glass cutting mat, watered it down and splattered that on as well. So I really tried to use like loads of the Nuvo on this card, and I've added in the Nuvo drops on there as well. I think other than the sequins, I think I did use all of the Nuvo other than the sequins. So yeah, I really like how this one turned out actually, and that is literally just using 3 dies from the set, the outside one, the one with the heart and the one with the stripes, and you can get that kind of a feel from it. So pick any of the shapes and try something similar, and depending on how spiky or curvy the shape is, it will give you a different feel to the card as well. So I really liked how that one turned out. So those 3 are in my sped up video, which should be up tomorrow or very soon, depending on what other videos are going up. Then I hadn't used the ribbon, so I wanted to make a couple of tags to show using the ribbon on the top of the tags. These top pieces for the tags is actually from last month's kit. There's the Winter Star Advent box. You had this little piece to be able to hang it, and I thought, oh, that worked perfectly to turn these little shapes into tags. So I've used that shape on there. If you didn't want this frilly piece to show, you could have just stuck it behind and just had that circle showing at the top, but I decided to make a feature of it on these, and this is just taking one portion of that die. So if you look at this one that has the whole piece on it, this tag is taking this shape. So I cut the actual main frame and then just trimmed around anywhere where it hit one of the other shapes to give me the actual shape of that tag there. And then this one is using 2 of the ovals, so again I did the same thing and trimmed off the ovals, and I've put 2 of them together using the gorgeous satin mirror cards. I've used that circle with the hearts cut out in the centre, the little scattering of hearts, that's the different heart in the centre of that heart on that cluster as well, which I think looks brilliant together. I've used some of the pattern papers behind. I just think they make really cute little gift tags. I just wanted to show you another idea of how to like use this beautiful frame shape, that you can actually snip the shapes out and use them to create little tags. This one says hugs and kisses, where I've taken the actual word and out of this stamp and then used the ampersand and this looks great when you cut it in a couple of different colours and flip the ampersand out in the middle as well. And then again, that's one of those little hearts on there too. So really cute little gift tags you can make in any of the different shapes from here as well. And then the final 2 cards, I think these are my 2 favourite cards. I really like how these turned out. This was one of my ideas that I jotted down to do. All of the other ones were also on my list of ones that I wanted to make. So to do this, I wanted this gorgeous scattered kind of effect, but obviously I didn't know exactly which cardstock I wanted cut from what die in what place on this card. So all I did was I sat there, I probably ran my plates through about, you know, like 15 times to get all the different bits and pieces, but I picked the cardstock that I wanted to use, which was almost every single piece from this kit, and then I ran through the circle with the ampersand, the circle with the hearts out the centre, this scattering of hearts, oh, the little heart die. There's the little one that goes inside the oval with the little hearts that go along. There's also one of the ones that is supposed to fit inside this shape here that has hearts in as well, and I was running that through. There was also the little starburst one with the heart in the centre, and I was also running that through because that heart is really gorgeous as well, and I've used that on the 2 side pieces here. And I just cut a bunch of them so that when I was layering everything out together, I could use some that were just the ampersand, some it's the ampersand with a different coloured one back in the centre. I could use lots of these different heart circles in whatever colour that I wanted that would go with the layout, and again the clusters, the small little hearts, some of them this shape are the fall away ones from the little panel that's got a starburst and a heart in the centre. Then these more pointy kind of hearts are the ones that came out of the small little panel that's supposed to go in this one that has loads of different hearts in. These tiny little hearts are from the centre of this heart circle as well. And then there's also, I think they might be the same style of heart that's in the little strip of hearts as well. So I had tons of different pieces to work with. And then for the sentiment, I wanted to show you how you can use the little words cut into a strip of cardstock, not necessarily one of the shapes from the frame set. And then that word let's is actually in an oval, but you can just use the letters and stick them on as well. So you've got the words let's celebrate. And then I finished it off with some gorgeous malted milk Nuvo drops down the card as well. And I really love how that turned out. And the next card was born from the leftovers of this card. So the next card wasn't planned, but I think it could be my favourite out of the ones I made. So I had been running through so many bits and pieces through the die cutting machine that I had loads of random apertures left of little circles. So all I did was took my scissors and just really randomly, not worrying if anything is square or 90 degrees or anything, or distances are equal or whatever, just using my long bladed pair of scissors to cut all of the apertures into a squared off shape with the circle aperture in the centre. And then I just laid them out onto the card and picked different things to recess back into them. So each row has an ampersand, each row has the heart circle, and each row has one of these solid heart clusters as well. And then I just mixed it up all the way down, and I really love how this one turned out. And then I just used that celebrate sentiment again, backing it with one of the satin mirror cards, and then used a few malted milk Nuvo drops to accent different places as well. And I really love how this one turned out, and it was literally just born from all of the leftover bits and pieces that I have. And I can even show you the rest of the leftovers. I'm planning on putting them in my scrap box and putting all of the hearts in a little bag, but look how many little hearts I have now from all of the different pieces I was cutting. There's so many different hearts within this set, hidden within like the different panels, and they just look so beautiful, especially cut out of glitter card, just to scatter on a card afterwards. I've got excess shapes from the frames, I've got excess little ampersands with different ones that I could put back in as well, to probably even enough to maybe create this card again or something similar. And I even kept all of these excess pieces as well. So like these were the extra pieces that I was cutting. This is that panel where those skinnier hearts fall out of. This is the little strip where those fall out of. And there's so many different ways of using all these waste pieces as well. I mean, if you were doing lots of the frame projects and the little waste hearts and stuff were just a byproduct of the actual project you were making, obviously you would have used these outside pieces. But if you're just cutting these pieces to get like the little hearts and stuff, there's nothing to stop you then going back with your scissors or with a die and trimming this into a shape that you could then use on a card as well. And you could have loads of little rows of these gorgeous little heart die cuts in all the different colours that you've been using to cut out all of the hearts to work on your project as well. And you could actually use them like horizontally on a card so the hearts are going the right way. You could even do a funky card and make them so that these heart pieces are like little candles and then put little flames on the top of them, or do some kind of design where you incorporate the rest of the circles that you've got within there as well and have the hearts coming out in different ways, and some of these hearts as well. There's so many different things you could do with all these scraps that are left over too. So yeah, in the beginning I wasn't quite sure about this die set, and I was kind of like, I'm not really sure how I'm gonna show the versatility of this set. But actually once you start working with it, there are so many different bits and pieces that you can use from this. And like even these gorgeous little apertures like this, I mean, if you want loads of those hearts that come out, use the outside die as well, and then you'll have loads of little panels. You'll get the hearts to use on the project you wanted to, then you'll have loads of little panels to create like a brick effect on a card, and all the little bricks are like full of hearts or something. So I really do think this is a really nice set, especially for people who love fiddly little dies. I mean, I don't get as much time as I used to play with all these fiddly little ones, but I do really enjoy it, and I do love it when you get beautiful, like modern looking cards like this out of them as well. But you can really get so many different styles from this kit too. I know they're all in the same colours, but if you mixed up the colours, then they probably would look even more different as well. But I really did enjoy this kit, and I love this Harvest Moon colour trend as well. So it won't be long before the Harvest Moon colour trend actually comes out as well, so make sure you keep your eyes peeled for my up close video on that, and I'll probably do a sped up video showing a card using that colour trend as well. So I hope you enjoyed this Tonic Craft Kit unboxing video for kit number 48, which is the Harvest Moon Affections. And all of the links to the Tonic Craft Kit will be below the video and also on my blog as well, and they are affiliate links too, so I really do appreciate if you use them to purchase a kit or anything else off of the website as well. It really makes a big difference. And yeah, keep your eyes peeled for the sped up video, which should be out tomorrow, and then also won't be long before the actual full trend video is out as well. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again in the next video. Bye!